Welcome to this exciting episode where I finish with finesse as we work through the snagging list.
Yeah, join me on a glorious sunny day in Southampton, and I'm going to start working through the list of things that need to be done before we can get this to move forward. All of the various components have been built, so we have two front wings, we have a bonnet, we have a bumper, we have two overriders, and we have an airdam, all of which now need finishing properly. Wheel arch, well, we know that's not round because we discovered the overhang. I don't know if you can really see it, but there's like a dent here. I need to make this front corner nice. That corner there. The airdam, that is only had a first slap coat of filler on it, so that whole airdam will need to be sanded, shaped and filled. The bumper, at the moment it's three pieces with big gaps and screws holding it together. That I'm going to try and now make into a single piece. I need to cut that shorter and shape it because I want to finish it about here. Once we have the wings and the airdam and the bumper, we can do those little overriders. Finally, the bonnet. Now that fits reasonably. There's a bit of a gap down this side, a few leaves on it, but I want to make sure that's finished properly. I'm not sure if I'm going to get this slot into a single episode, but we shall see.
So there's my task list, and in my beautiful tidy garage, there's the parts stacked waiting to be done.
I've managed to clear some space and get the airdam on the desk. This used to be a big garage, and now I've got no space at all. Anyway, not sure how to approach this because it's quite a big bugger, and I can't really move around too much because I'm worried about breaking it. So first thing to do is block that down with probably some 60 grit to at least get a approximately smooth surface. Then apply a nice smooth layer of filler over it, or at least a thin layer of filler over it, that I can block down to get some kind of finish.
I started with good intentions, a sanding block and do it by hand, but decided it was so rough I'd hit it with an orbital first.
It's all been sanded basically smooth, but it's still very rough. So I'm going to make it up probably just 50 in a little cup to put on there. So I have epoxy laminated resin, slow hardener. I prefer to use fast, but I've only got slow, so I'll use that. The glass baubles, a scale, a cup, and a drill with a blender on it. It's going to be 50 resin, so half of that is 15 of hardener, glass baubles to make the mixture I want.
Carefully weigh and measure the quantities, resin, hardener, blend them together. Probably shouldn't really use a blender as it introduces bubbles, but for what I'm doing, that doesn't really matter. Adding the glass baubles, these are so light they kind of float on top, so you really use a paddle to begin with, just to stir them in, almost like a spoon. Then you can blend them in. Once you've got the first lot in there, it forms a liquid, and that's much better than you add a bit more, and the blend just goes in much quicker. Get it to the consistency you want. You can have anywhere between like double cream and Play-Doh. The looser it is, the more it flows, so you get sags. The harder it is, the more bulk you've got, but it does not quite as sticky, of course. Pour the glue onto the mixing board and use the spreader to try and get out those bubbles. Then slap it onto the body. I've got no idea what I'm doing here, so if anyone listening knows about body filling and can tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, or send me links, I'd really appreciate that.
And we come back in the morning, all nice and hard. So that'll leave sanding down, then just continue to repeat right the way around. Back to my useful list, and wheel arch. I'm going to use some of that black plastic to make a template of this wheel arch, and then going to transfer it to this side and make them match.
And isn't it quick and easy with a bit of fast forward? Anyway, template's transferred, and you can see that most of the gap is around the front of the wheel arch, as we expect. So I need to slap some body filler behind there. Gotta love it when autofocus doesn't do what you want it to do. Anyway, I made a little dam to keep the body filler in place, and I'm squidging it all in there. This is really thick and It's like porridge. Anyway, making that wheel arch, then it'll let it dry and hopefully sand to shape.
We've got the front wing basically to shape. That's obviously going to need some sanding. This is still a little bit missing, so I need to bring this out a little bit. But I've got this low spot, so what I'm going to do is try and fill that, and then that corner there, a little bit here, so that when I do come to sand it, we can do it all in one go. Trick I heard on YouTube, that's a low spot, but that's good. So what I want to do is mark with a pencil where the low spot is, so when I'm standing back, I stand back until I see the pencil mark. So basically, the low spot is that area. So I want to be able to see those pencil marks.
And now slap some filler. So make a dam out of some sticky tape so I can get that corner right and fill the low spot.
It was a shitty, rainy Sunday morning, so I tidied round over there. Yeah, kind of missed that bit. But tidied round, and you know what? Found 2 lots of fast hardener. So I can now make epoxy which will go off in a day rather than a week.
Now we're back in the airdam. Not sorry for jumping around like this, but while the wing's drying, I might as well do the airdam. It's not symmetrical. I know I use a template, but if you look at those markings, there's 3 5s to the left and only 2 and a bit to the right. The upright bit at the edge is also the wrong size. It should be 2 5s wide and not 1 and a bit. The actual width stuff is mostly caused by that flare being at the wrong angle. The corner post is easily spaced out with a bit of foam. The actual corner itself, I'm going to block out with a couple bits of foam, just get the rough shape, fill it, and then worry about blending in the side. To make the surface, I was filling flat out a standard bumper on its end, which means I was reaching up to get to it. Made the glute tooth runny. I had to use some gaffer tape to quickly make a dam for that. Not perfect, but hey, it worked.
We've got the slump we expected, but we now have 555, which matches 555. Now I can worry about shaping that to there. So the plan is to put a piece of that there. Then this will be shaved and sanded down to match that, and that will be made beautiful.
Before shaving anything to make it look beautiful, I thought I'd do a test fit. Then realised that top edge of the airdam needs to be flush with the wing, which means the wing needs to be perfect. And so let's jump to doing the wing.
Bringing the wing into the garage, I'm now going to go pencil mark all the different bits so I can see problems, give a final coat of filler, sand it, and then that should be finished.
Not a chance, you dreamer.
Put a little headlight blanket in place, shows how much the shape has evolved. Also shows I forgot to clean my bloody stirrer, so that's all set hard.
Lots of defects highlighted, rough sanding, just scratch marks, dents, lots of little pinholes because when I blend it with the whisk, it leaves bubbles in there. Make sure this next lot's blended by hand. I'm sure you didn't need to watch me mixing filler and applying it again. So this wing, I said the filler applied, been sanded down with some 60 or maybe 80 grit, and then coated with a 3M clear guide coat. Black powder shows every scratch, as you see, lots of roughness. This all needs to be sanded down. I'll grab some 120 or maybe 150 and make it smooth. On with the mask, stick a big fan blowing everything out the little door of the corner and get sanding. I'm doing this by hand because it's late at night. I don't want to wake the neighbours up with an electric sander, but actually mainly because I want to use a long block. This keeps the smoothness of the surface and doesn't get big dents and troughs or waves or whatever caused by the orbital. Keep blowing the dust away. As you can see, it's pretty dusty, and as you're probably aware by now, sanding is pretty boring. So, well, just assume it's been sanded. Here it is after it's sanded. Still some low spots you can see where the dark areas are. I'll bring them with pencil. These are really slight. You can't feel it by finger. I'm sure if it wasn't for that guide coat, you wouldn't be able to see them. Wow, there you can see that one. Okay, it's going to take another coat of filler and sand. But then, like I said last time, it's going to be perfect.
It's yawn o'clock on a Friday morning, and you join me to see my latest innovation. stuck a marquee up against the garage because I'm fed up of it bloody raining on me. I have got sides for it, but don't want to put them up yet. Hopefully this won't blow away. It's anchored into the garage with ring bolts and a battery off the old Range Rover. Theoretically this should let me do some work on here, so hopefully this weekend I'll get the two wings finished off and make a big improvement on the air dam.
Just realised we're 10 minutes into this video, so if anyone's still there, I'm going to whisk through what we did the weekend, where I worked basically on the air dam. So stick with it, we're nearly there. First thing to do is to make the two side vents the same and symmetrical. So you guessed it, we used the template. Lost all the footage of the first one, so you're going to watch me make the second one. The template will make sure that the holes of the vents are the same size, but you're still going to put them in the same place. And because the backs of this air dam are so rough, positioning is a pain in the backside. Once you've got them there, it actually does show how much overhang and underhang there are, so it should be worth it in the end. We now fill up all the gaps to that template, big gloopy splodges. Hopefully that'll go off. Actually, here we are next morning, cup of coffee, so it's going to be about 7 in the morning. Yeah, it seems hard. So bit of shaping, bit of filling, pull the template off. Oh, bugger. Look, we've basically pulled a bit of the filler off with the template. It happens, we can touch that up. Then leave it to dry in the garden because having put the bloody awning up, it's not rained since. Anyway, enough complaining about good weather. Going to use template foam, same idea to do the bottom, make sure that the air dam is symmetrical and flat. Foam down, slap goop on, leave to dry, peel it off in the morning. That roll of silver tape is amazingly effective with this epoxy resin. This scene was actually totally staged for YouTube. Yeah, we've got some release, a bit sticky, but okay. Anyway, end of episode. Where are we at? Got the wheel arch done. Front wings kind of finessed. Air dam kind of filled. Next episode, we're going to be getting onto the bumpers and all that exciting stuff. So like, subscribe, and whatever else. Thanks, guys.